the posting of the colors, the national anthem, and remain standing through the invocation.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please remain standing as the Columbia University chaplain, Chaplain Davis, will now lead us in the invocation.
Let us pray together. Almighty and ever-loving Creator, source of all wisdom and understanding, we are thankful this evening for this occasion to gather and to serve both our country and our God. We are grateful for all that you teach us each and every day. We who gather at this military ball are especially thankful for Dean On and for all of his hard work on behalf of veterans present and future that will be a part of the Columbia University family. We are grateful for these men and women in their time of learning, the laughter, the camaraderie, the testing of their abilities. These are gifts for which we are very thankful. Gracious Creator, we give thanks for the food, the tributes, and the awards that have been prepared. May you give light where there is ignorance. May you give peace where there is conflict. May you give courage, grace, and mercy to all who serve in our military around the world. God bless the United States of America. Amen.
Please be seated. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rachel Ballou, and I will be your MC this evening. I am currently serving as a Staff Sergeant in the Marine Corps Reserves. Good. As well as serving as Vice President of MilVets. On behalf of the MilVets Board, we are excited that all of you have joined us for the 2019 Columbia University Military Ball. Yes. We are honored to have in attendance tonight Dean Lisa Rosenmetsch, Vice Dean Curtis Rogers, Michael Abrams, the MilVets Executive Board, distinguished veteran alumni and friends and family of Dean Emeritus Peter On. On behalf of Columbia University, the School of General Studies, and the U.S. Military Veterans of Columbia University, I would like to recognize our sponsors for this evening that helped make this special night possible: PwC Charitable Foundations, Citigroup, JP Morgan Chase & Co., Deutsche Bank, Larry and Sally Lawrence. I also want to thank our supporters for their commitment to tonight as well. We have IBM, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, Valerie Azaz, Ryan Gannon, Steve Brozak, Lieutenant Colonel Elliot Goldman, Willard and Catherine Overlock, and the Columbia veterans. Lastly, welcome School of General Studies Board of Visitors who are also with us tonight. As it is tradition at all military balls across all branches of service, we set aside a seat for those who were not able to join us tonight. I will ask at this time for everyone to please stand while we recognize those who will not be able to make it here. If you see in front of you, this table is set for one, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner against their oppressors. The tablecloth is white, symbolic of the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. The single red rose signifies the blood that many have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our beloved United States of America. The yellow ribbon represents those worn on the lapels of the thousands who demand, with unyielding determination, a proper accounting of our comrades who are not among us tonight. A slice of lemon reminds us of their bitter sacrifice. The salt sprinkled on the plate reminds us of the countless fallen tears of families as they wait. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us at this time. The chair is empty. They are not here. The candle is reminiscent of the light of hope, which lives in our hearts to illuminate their way home, away from their captors to the arms of a grateful nation. Let us pray that all of our comrades will soon be back within our ranks. Let us remember those who will never be able to rejoin our ranks and never forget their sacrifices. May God forever watch over them and protect them and their families. You may now be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome MilVet's president and my friend Crosby Kistler.
What's going on, everyone? All right. So, as Rachel said, my name is Crosby Kistler. I'm a 7-year Army vet, and I'm the current president of MilVets. As Rachel had previously mentioned, it's an honor to have all of you here tonight to be able to celebrate the 2019 Columbia University Military Ball. Tonight's a special event because it allows us to recognize the commitment that the School of General Studies has to the military since the very beginning. When Dwight Eisenhower established General Studies in 1947, his vision was to provide a place for GIs coming home from World War II to pursue their college degrees. After 9/11, under the vision and leadership of Dean Peter Rahn, the school renewed its dedication to veterans at Columbia with a commitment to recruiting, supporting, and educating servicemen and women. When MilVets first began in 2002, it was just a handful of veterans. Today, I'm proud to say that we have just under 500 undergraduate veterans at the School of General Studies. To pay tribute to the years of service and the generations of MilVets, I would like to call on the stage former and current MilVet board members: Rachel Ballou, Dan Burkhart, Ronnie Chang, Mario Figueroa, Samantha DeMaiziere, Mark Franklin, Eric Hines, Andrew King, Benjamin Palladino, Rich Baldessari, Sean O'Keefe, recognize our NCOIC tonight, Stephen Ballou, lastly, one of the founding members of Milvets back in 2002, Paul Yates.
There's Paul. There he is. Hey, Paul. Hey, Paul. Hey, bud.
At this time, I'd like to take a moment to go ahead and introduce former Green Beret and GS alumni, Sean O'Keefe.
First step foot on Columbia's campus during the summer of 2007. I left the military a few months prior, struggling to find what comes next and yearning for an education. I was amazed at the beauty of Butler Library and wanted nothing more than to one day fit into a school like Columbia. Sadly, I thought, I simply wasn't Columbia material. That is when I first met Dean On. My name is Sean O'Keefe, and Dean On made me who I am today. One of the most exciting times that I've had with Dean On was when he personally took time out of his day to help me write a speech titled A Celebration of Service, Past, Present, and Future. The speech welcomed the new Yellow Ribbon program to Columbia and also introduced the red, white, and blue cord that you see during graduations today. I was the president of the Milvet at the time. I was about to graduate from Columbia and had the honor of being a small part of this amazing organization. When I was a student, I watched the veteran community here grow from about 50 veterans when I first enrolled in 2007 to about 200 when I was preparing for this speech. As the Milvets and I frantically ran about trying to organize the Yellow Ribbon program, Dean On approached us one day with some words of wisdom. He told us that the community that the Milvets are building here today is something special, and that we should all be proud of what we are developing. At the time, I couldn't understand why he would take time out of his day to help not only Columbia veterans, but all veterans throughout the country. I simply assumed it had something to do with the history of the School of General Studies. In hindsight, however, Dean On saw something deeper in all of us. With a smile on his face, a joyful laugh, and amazing socks to match, he taught me the meaning of unity, friendship, and a never-ending pursuit of intellectual curiosity. He saw the unique perception that veterans bring, the camaraderie that we had, and what we offered to the Columbia classroom. I'd like to paraphrase a part of that speech I gave in 2010 in part because it shows a small glimpse of the history of the Mill Vets, but also because Dean On spent hours of his day helping me write these words. Doors of America's finest universities have opened to thousands of veterans like myself. Our dreams of achieving a first-class education are now within our reach as we leave the armed forces and enter the classroom throughout the country. Following in the footsteps of millions of World War II veterans who have attended colleges on their original GI Bill. Dean On helped me write those words many years ago, and I would like to think that he is here with me now as I read these words to you tonight. Past, present, and future veterans have benefited from the GI Bill, and likewise, past, present, and future veterans will benefit from the School of General Studies and the Mill Vets. I still remember my first Mill Vets meeting back in 2007. Every student veteran was there, all 50 of us. We sat around the room in Learner Hall, we talked about where we came from, and we tried to figure out how we could come together as a group. I don't know how we got here, but as I look around this beautiful room tonight, I can't help but remember our humble beginnings of where we came from. And think that, Dean On didn't make me who I am today. He made all of us. Countless student veterans have come before us, and countless others will continue to come after us. I'm humbly honored that I've had the opportunity to watch the Mill Vets grow as an organization from a small beginning. We're coming together as one tonight under the celebration of Dean On, as friends, bounded forever through the shared university experiences of Columbia. But in doing so, I can't help but realize that Dean On didn't teach me about unity, friendship, and the never-ending pursuit of intellectual curiosity. He taught all of us. I am beyond excited that the Mill Vets have continued to grow stronger every year. I'm beyond excited that the first female Mill Vet president will be leading this organization next year. Rachel, congratulations. And I am comforted, as I hope we all are, that during our darkest hour, we are here together. We're here celebrating somebody who has always pushed the Mill Vets to never stop learning, to never stop supporting each other, and to never forget that we're on this journey together. Dean On helped make me me. He helped make the Mill Vets. And Columbia University is better because of him. We are all better for having to know him. Let's celebrate the life of Dean On tonight by supporting all veterans and students the way that he has done for so many of us. Thank you.
Columbia Mill Vets would now like to welcome the Dean of School of General Studies, Lisa Rosenmetsch. Dean Rosenmetsch is the first alum of the School of General Studies to hold the position of the Dean of the school. Her dedication to the veteran community at Columbia University has been unwavering, and we are grateful for her presence here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dean Lisa Rosenmetsch.
How exciting is it that we have the first incoming women president of Mill Vets? I could not be more excited to work with Rachel next year. I stand before you after the ceremony, the beautiful ceremony that we had earlier before dinner, that beautiful tribute to my beloved predecessor, Peter J. On. I would like to take a moment to thank and send my love and my deepest condolences to the beautiful family and friends of Peter J. On, who have joined us here tonight, sitting at table 8. Norman, Michelle, Mike, Kristen, Peter On, we have a Peter On here, Rich, Vivian, and Mary McGee. You all are our GS family, and we want this to be the first of many, many events. You will always be with us, and we can't thank you for having shared Peter, Uncle Pete, with us, and we love you. We are all here tonight to honor and celebrate the legacy of Peter and the extraordinary student and veteran community, student veterans, alumni veterans, veterans from Columbia University, veterans from other universities who join us here tonight as we celebrate together our military ball. I often say that I inherited the most treasured school from Peter. In his 20 years as dean, as was spoken before, he built an incredible school, community, and family here at GS. I am grateful personally that I had over 1 year when I started as dean in January 2018 to learn from Dean On, to be mentored by him, and I will always carry what I learned as we chart out together our future. And given the love and enthusiasm in this room, that future is very, very bright. And as I told many of you in my first year, and my own, how I am inspired and the love that we have, our school, please know that Columbia School of General Studies has an absolutely unwavering commitment to student veterans, and we will always make sure that Columbia University is the destination place for service members and veterans seeking an elite education. And I know without a doubt, if I was channeling Peter, he would be thrilled, he would be beyond thrilled that the recipient tonight of the Peter J. Lifetime Service Award is Vice Dean Curtis Rogers. Rogers worked side by side with Peter J. On for 20 years to recruit the most amazing, incredible student veteran community in the entire United States and the world. I cannot personally thank Curtis enough. It's been a hell of a year, Curtis. And I can say that knowing that Curtis is here really makes our future bright, and there's nothing we cannot accomplish. Yeah. We are so grateful to have so much support and love in this room from alumni, friends, foundations, and the organizations who support the transition into education and the workforce for our veterans and their families, and they make our mission possible. Every one of you in this room. I want to thank and recognize a number of our supporters of our student veterans, and supporters of our Center for Veteran Transition and Integration under the great leadership of Mike Abrams. And supporters who have made this military ball possible. I want to recognize Citi and the last year's recipient of our Peter On Award, Chris Perkins. I want to recognize PWC Charitable Foundation. I want to recognize Deutsche Bank, in particular, General Tom Bouchard, Director, DP Wealth Management, and Assistant Adjunct General, Joint Forces Headquarters. We want to thank JP Morgan Chase and Company for their support. And I also want to acknowledge IBM, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, and Steve Brozak for their great support tonight. I want to thank the most wonderful, brilliant Board of Visitors that I get to work with in leading Columbia School of General Studies. If they could stand for a moment, Larry Lawrence and his beautiful wife, Sally, Trina and Mike Overlock, Allison and Joe Magliocco, and Thomas Reardon and Alexandra Young. It is an honor to work with this Board of Visitors. And also sitting at my table, in addition to the board, my wonderful husband, GS alum, class of 1989, Benjamin Metch. We have an amazing alumni board. And if you serve on our alumni board, please stand up. And let me also recognize the new co-chair of our alumni board who is here tonight, Damien Harfuch. And I also want to especially recognize GSAA members Brittany Rivera and Bernadette Murphy, who is also a veteran and here tonight. A very special thanks to Columbia alumni veterans. Also sitting at my table, Paul Yates, if you could stand up, and Andrew King. There. And I want to ask for a moment the incredible MilVets board under the leadership this year of Crosby Kistler. Please stand up. I want to recognize a special guest this evening who we honored at my first class day, Mickey Mashera, GS class of 1950 war, who came to GS after the Korean War. Okay, there are many people who made tonight possible. I first want to ask to stand up the great Jill Gallus-Hickey, Associate Dean of Alumni Affairs and Development. Also from my leadership team, our Acting Dean of Students, Yvonne Rojas and Nate Wilcox. The planning committee for tonight's ball also include David Keefe, where is David? And right here, and Jawad Cipriani from our Dean of Students office. And any other members of our great GS team, please stand up and be recognized. And I want to also thank the University Events team, Eileen Markey Halleck and Shannon Davis. I also want us all to thank the amazing people who are serving us dinner tonight. And just before I step down, I just want to do it again. I want to thank our amazing student leaders, incoming President Rachel Ballou, past President Crosby Kistler, and I have to throw in there the first Milvets president that hired me, Mark Franklin. Mark was an interview. So thank you for being here. Peter J. On, friends and family, we love you, and we bring you in tonight to our GS family many more years. We love Peter, and we will do this all for many more years to come in honor of him. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Franklin, former president of Milvets, GS February 2019, so very recent. I want to start by thanking Lisa Rosenmetch. Thank you very much. We love you. You're fantastic. It's amazing. So I have the honor this evening of introducing the Peter J. On Service Award. We created this award actually last year. I had my board served during the transition between Peter and Lisa. And we decided to institute the Peter J. On Service Award as a way of commemorating Peter and his service to the community, but also as a mechanism for recognizing those that have been instrumental in our success as student veterans. And tonight's recipient is, of course, Curtis Rogers.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Abrams. I'm the director for the Center for Veteran Transition and Integration here at Columbia. Curtis, you and I first met back in 2012. I had just started a not-for-profit that helped student veterans obtain internships, and there were a number of Columbia student veterans who were taking the program. And if you recall, I think you were CC'd on the email, Dean On had sent me an email out of the blue, inviting me up to campus. And he wanted to meet the person who was working with all of his student veterans. And I had this overwhelming, familiar feeling that I was going to see the principal. But you and Peter treated me to a very, very nice breakfast up there at the faculty house. You both offered to help expand the program nationally, beyond New York City. And I remember Peter saying that Columbia is never going to have 5,000 student veterans, at the university here. But the university could have a positive impact on that many veterans through supporting programs like the one that I had started. And it's hard to believe that that was 7 years ago. And Curtis, you joined the board of 4 Block. We worked very, very closely on expanding that program. And then I was fortunate enough to be welcomed here at Columbia to help you and help Peter lead and grow the center. And in the 7 years that you, me, and Peter have been working together, I've heard Peter say a few times that, in his uniquely gracious, humble, and his funny way, that as dean, he gets all the credit while you do all the work. And he would then let out one of his cackles with that contagious laugh of his. And even though it was meant to be a nice, lighthearted joke, I know that Peter would agree that there was certainly some truth to that statement. And having had an opportunity to see behind the curtain and understand all the nuances that go into supporting and growing the student veteran population here, I can say that you and Peter were the ultimate team. You were the ultimate 1-2 punch. Only Peter had the political influence and the savvy to engage with the university leadership and the faculty here to set the conditions for a large student veteran population. Only he could have fought that fight. He provided the air cover that allowed you to go out there and to build the program from scratch. But Curtis, it was you who established those strong relationships with military leadership. It was you who visited bases all across the United States to locate and admit the most academically gifted service members that were out there. It was you who built the staffing infrastructure here on campus to ensure that student veterans were adequately supported and were successful when they got here. And it was you who took the time to personally address all the uniquely veteran-related issues that came across your desk on a daily basis. And I will just say, for all the student veterans out there who had an issue that went to a staff member at GS, more times than not, that staff member then went down the hall to Curtis's office and he took care of it. And I got to see that happen many, many times. And Curtis, you never wanted to be recognized for that. And I think that speaks highly to your character. But only you could have done that, Curtis. Only you could have created that program. You needed Peter to provide the political cover and advocacy, and Peter needed you to do the groundwork and to make the program a success. You both complemented each other perfectly, and you both built something together that is enduring and is absolutely beautiful. And what was mentioned earlier, there's almost 500 enlisted service members who are now pursuing undergraduate degrees here at Columbia University. That is more than every single Ivy League school combined times 4. And for the Marines in the room, that's a lot. And I will add, with a graduation rate equal to that of traditional undergraduate students here at Columbia University. Some still need to graduate. So Curtis, the other day, you and I were talking about Peter's passing, and we were just checking in with each other to see how we were both doing. And you said that having worked for someone like Peter for 20 years, you couldn't help but feel that a piece of your identity had also been taken away. Peter was not only your boss, but an incredible mentor, confidant, a close friend to you and your family. And up to this moment, working for Peter had pretty much defined your career. What I would say to you tonight, Curtis, is take a look around the room. Take a look at all the student veterans and alumni who are here. Look at all the veterans who have been given an opportunity to receive a world-class education and ultimately reach their potential. They are here tonight because of you. The incredible successes of these veterans and what they have yet to achieve, I feel, more than anything, defines your career and your incredible impact on the university and in the veteran community. We can all serve our country in very meaningful ways. And on behalf of all the veterans in this room tonight, Curtis, thank you for your service.
Curtis. So, thank you for remaining standing, actually. I was going to ask you all to do that. Curtis, on behalf of all the current students and alumni, we'd like to present you with the Peter J. On Service Award. Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for this award. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mark, for the incredible introduction. And I have to say thank you to my brilliant colleagues here tonight and our student and alumni military leaders who planned this event from the scratch. I have to point out Jill Gala-Hickey for the incredible work she's done. The rest of the events team and everybody who worked so hard to make this happen. I am humbled and honored to receive this award. But I have to admit, there's a bit of sadness for me tonight to get this award without the person so directly responsible for my success being here. But I have to say thank you to Norman, to Rich, to Peter, and to Michelle for being here, for joining us. You are surrounded tonight by Peter's Columbia family, and we're here for you. Peter instilled in me and in all of his colleagues a deep sense of mission that is very much focused on the student. We work with students because we're there to help our students achieve their goals in life, to find their academic and professional paths, and to realize their potential. I've had the pleasure to work with so many students over the years, and so often in the course of those conversations, I'm asked, what comes next? It's no coincidence that the very purpose of the Center for Veteran Transition and Integration from the very beginning was about what comes next. The idea of helping service members to find their way in life after service. When we wrote down those very first ideas on a loose leaf sheet of paper and said, this is what the center is, that came directly from these experiences with students. Sitting down with students at admissions interviews, in advising sessions, conversations with the very student leaders here tonight, and so many of the alumni who were student leaders during their time at Columbia University. The idea that when you transition from the military to education, you should be able to maximize your potential. You should be able to find your path, and when you're finishing education, you should be supported in your transition from education into that professional path, that career, that academic program at the graduate or professional level. And you should be able to ultimately maximize your potential, and you should find your calling. And I always drew on one thing in all of these conversations, the idea that I myself had found my calling. I found what it is that I want to do with my life. Working with service members, working with veterans, working with non-traditional students has given me something to strive for every single day, to think about and to work towards. And I have to say, when I sat across the table from Peter on in April of 1998, and this man who back then looked remarkably like Ben Kingsley. Just a quick aside, Peter told me a story once. He was downtown, and a couple of tourists came up to him, and they said, Ben Kingsley, we loved you, in whatever movie Ben Kingsley was working on at that time. Peter's response was, thank you very much. Perfect Peter on. Peter has so many accomplishments now, Best Actor as well. But as I'm sitting across the table from him and we were talking about this job that I was recruited to come in and look at Columbia University, I have to admit, I knew very little about the mission. And I didn't understand well the concept of supporting non-traditional students in education and giving them the chance to go on and achieve great things. But this man, this scholar, this teacher, sat there and described it to me with such eloquence that I was completely riveted. And you know, those of you who work in higher education, my colleagues here in the room tonight, you know this well. We do not make the decision to be dedicated to a life in higher education because of compensation. And quite frankly, moments like this are rare. Recognition for what it is we do. We are driven by mission. Every single day, we know we are making a difference and that we are doing something on behalf of our students and our student veterans to help them achieve far greater things, to help them go on and maximize their potential. So when I'm asked by students, what is it they should think about to achieve this next step in their lives, be it education or career, I draw on my own experience and I say, find something you were drawn to by virtue of passion and mission, know what it is that motivates you, and work as hard as you can every single day towards those goals. And so, I've been lucky, and get a credit for being lucky, getting this recognition, getting this lifetime honor for finding my calling means an enormous amount to me and is deeply affirming. But I have to say, being recognized like this creates a bit of dissonance for me. Because as much as I appreciate the recognition for doing what I love and trying to do that well, and for trying to make a difference, I'm not done yet. I have a lot more to do. We have a lot more to do. We have done great things over the last 20 years, and we deserve a moment to reflect and think about our successes and our accomplishments, but we can only do that in the context of what comes next. There are many barriers to knock down. The gap that student veterans face between cost of education and veteran benefits, we need to close that gap. The idea that we have not significantly yet moved the mark in fixing transition out of the military into education, and just as importantly, out of education into the workforce for service members, for veterans, for military-affiliated students. We need to move the mark. So there are incredible challenges to overcome, and I plan to do them, and I plan to do them with you. We have the incredible fortune at the School of General Studies to have a fantastic dean, Lisa Rosen-Metsch, who stepped into this role as an alumna and who is as dedicated to our mission and our calling as Peter On was. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for recognizing me for this work that I've been called to, but I ask one thing: be there with me as we go forward, because there's some great accomplishments ahead and a lot of work to be done. We're going to realize the very ideas upon which the Center for Veteran Transition Integration was founded, and the very ideals that embody what it means to be a student at Columbia University School of General Studies. We haven't done that yet, but we will, and I look forward to doing that with you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Peter On. Thank you, Dean Rosen-Metsch, Crosby, Kistler. You took my tux tonight. The Milvets E-Board, Rachel, I wish you luck in next year's presidency. And thank you to all of the students and alumni with whom I've had the honor to work over these last 20 years. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Curtis Rogers. While you're all standing, I also want to take a moment to recognize a very special table, Table 3, some of New York's finest and bravest, FDNY, everybody. Guys did a fantastic job tonight. Thank you, as always. I also want to go ahead, you can all sit down, you can do whatever you want, I don't really care. I do also want to take a moment to just acknowledge Dean On's family. It means a lot for you guys to be here tonight, and it was an absolute privilege and an honor to be able to share this part of his life with you and for you to share the part of his life that he shared with you with us. So thank you so much. I want to take this moment, though, to take a brief step back, right? And recognize those who are in attendance that may not have had the opportunity to know Dean On. For our corporate partners like Deutsche, Citi, and IBM, they're still here supporting what his mission and his vision was. There are people from all over the country, from all over the world, that are here tonight that are honoring veterans at Columbia University, and it is that which embodies his vision and his legacy more than anything. And I say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Now, from my end, as far as Mill Vets are concerned, we had a pretty tremendous year. We did all right, folks, you know. Academic, professional, and social achievements that we hadn't previously reached or attained. But this wasn't done alone. This was done with the help of a pretty tremendous and outstanding board. So at this time, I would like to have all of the board members who served this year up on stage. Vice President Rachel Ballou, Treasurer James Benbrook, Secretary Thibaut Kopp, Director of Communications Andrew Placido, Director of Community Jeremiah Wegner, Director of Operations Gabrielle Bernard, lastly Christopher Belair, who is our first and our latest addition to the board. Our MedVets representative couldn't be here tonight. But, ladies and gentlemen, we got everybody? Tebow. Well, he's French, so you ran the wrong direction. That's the problem, yeah. Rapido? Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, your 2018-2019 Mill Vets E-Board. This moment in time, though, I know we have quite possibly the highest concentration of former presidents that we've had at one ball at any given time. So if you formerly served as a president of Mill Vets, I'd like to ask you to stand where you are, please. No, Al Chang, Sean O'Keefe, Mark Franklin, Eric Hines, Rich Baldessari. I'm asking all of you to stand for this very distinct reason. It is my honor and pleasure to be the first president to introduce the very first female president of Mill Vets, Rachel Ballou.
And on that note, let's raise our glasses for some toast. Stand with me. Ladies and gentlemen, invited guests, supporters, the family of our beloved Dean On, student veterans, GSers, we've celebrated the life of our beloved Dean On, who helped lay the foundation we stand on today. We've celebrated our community and those who have served. Let us now toast, so please have a glass, to camaraderie and the success of the future generations of veterans at Columbia University. And to Crosby, it's my board now.
No, don't do that. Do whatever you do, don't do that.
It's mine now. Cheers to all of you. Thank you.
You're the captain now.
And now, members of the armed services, please join me in this tradition of singing the United States Military Medley and represent your service proudly. Are you ready, Army?
Can we leave now? Shit, I never learned the words.
Our very own DJ, Husky Mumbles in the house.